Alright, so this one actually came from a woman who was posting one of those things about how terrible men are. So I responded to it. I typed, I'm polite and helpful to men and women, ugly, pretty, young, old, but I notice that good men are ignored until it's time to blame men for your bad dating choices or drug use. Then, instead of going after the dude who did it, you man bash instead of turning him into police. So the guy who beats you gets to beat 20 more women who won't come forward. Then people get the impression that there are 20 assholes out there beating women, when in reality it's 20 women who chose to date the same asshole. All 20 chanting, it's all men's fault. Really? What about the decent dude who rescued you? Who you threw away when you went back to getting beaten by the same guy he rescued you from? I fucking hate cops, but I still say yes sir, yes ma'am, and hold the door open. That's integrity. As a victim of rape and domestic abuse, I'm tired of taking abuse from women like it's only women it happens to, and all men are involved in this conspiracy to rape and beat women. I never expected sex from Jerry Sparks any of the 7 times I helped her move out of an abusive household. I was thinking about getting her kids someplace safe. When I helped Brandon move and Jason Jeffson, I didn't expect sex from them either. I was just glad to help. I didn't expect sex from any of the Jepsons when I helped clean up the Jepsons' old house just prior to them selling it to the Van Winkle family either. Little Jay, he lived there. He'd get all messed out of his gourd and fucking puke places and just put a carpet over it. Things like that. Let me get back to what I was typing though. I didn't expect sex from them either. I was just glad to help. People assumed that I thought Natalie being nice meant I assumed she wanted sex and wouldn't take no for an answer. Except sex wasn't something Natalie and I talked about. Natalie told me often she used to think she was in love with me. Now, she went back and forth on this, whether or not she still thought she was in love with me or not. But let's get back to it, I guess. Natalie told me often she used to think she was in love with me. She was the one rejected, not me, because I never reciprocated it. I just needed a friend. Then I see Jason Momoa with no shirt and half-naked firemen with captions like, I wish my house would catch fire, from the very same women who call men superficial pigs. So, in short, I didn't make you date an asshole. I didn't make him beat you or rape you. I didn't stop you from turning him in. I didn't let him go so he could go do the same thing to 20 more women, so he could do to 20 more women the same thing he did to you. Good luck finding any half-naked pictures of women with captions that depict them as sexual objects on my Facebook. That's pretty important, in my opinion. When James beat up Jamie, he didn't do it once, he did it at least 7 times. And because Jamie didn't come forward, James can go beat some more people and continue to get away with it. And he's huge and muscle bound and good looking. So it's okay. Well, it's not okay. It's okay somehow if the victim's too afraid to come forward. It's somehow okay if the police won't take a look. It's somehow okay if you call somebody mentally ill. What Ken and Leah did to me was steal my money. That's what they did. By the way, there's a protection order with them too. And they're still friends with me on Facebook, oddly enough. How many times have I typed to them? I don't. But I'm going to. If there's a protection order, they should not be on my Facebook. They need to answer some questions, though. So I'm going to tag Leah and Ken, and I'm going to ask them the questions they should have told in court. There's a lot of fucked up shit going on, and I'm doing my best. These very same people who did these things to me have done it to others. This very same officer, Officer Lolatai, he assaulted people before he assaulted me. But the laws let him get away with it. These loopholes allow officers to get away with assaulting you. You assault an officer, you're going to prison. An officer assaults you, he doesn't even get a slap on the wrist. He gets a paid vacation while there's a review, and one of his buddies does the reviewing. It's fucked. I believe in doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, but the right thing to do now is war. The right thing to do, according to the majority of your opinions, is to go kill these people. They threatened my family. What did you people say that you would do if someone threatened your family? You said you'd kill them, didn't you? So the right thing to do is to kill them, correct? Well, if that's what I have to do, then I'm not going to do the right thing. I'm not going to kill people. Not literally, anyway. I'd rather kill them with time. It sets a better example. Sure, this world would probably be better if somebody shot Officer Steinman in the head and nobody found out who did it. It wouldn't serve the example that's needed. He'd still become a martyr, but because they don't know who did it, they don't know what group to hate. The police don't know which group to go after to retaliate for his death. But I don't want Officer Steinman dead. I want him in prison. The way he treats homeless people, the chances are pretty good that if he's dead, it's a homeless person who did it. And you guys will treat the homeless like they're terrible people because one of them killed an officer. And you will martyr that officer like he was a fucking saint. And he wasn't. Not even Officer Ramos is a saint. Not even Officer Dwight Pruss. I still consider them good men, but I consider them bad officers. I consider every officer a bad officer. Because once you put on the badge, you're no longer human. You're part of the brotherhood of the bullet. When your fellow officers break the law, you look away. Give them professional courtesy. Derek, I tried showing him the evidence. He wouldn't look. So his opinion is based on not looking. The only stuff he's gotten to see is the slander. And he's still friends with the people who did this to me. And he sees them in person. They get to go freely about Colorado wherever they want. I mean, shit, Derek's probably selling fucking pot to them. Or buying pot from them. And I don't see a problem with him doing that. I don't see a problem with him smoking weed or sharing his weed. Matter of fact, I don't have a problem with Lana and Amanda selling weed or sharing weed. Except where Amanda and Lana are, it's illegal. Where Derek Parrish lives, it's not illegal. What Lana and Amanda Engeline did up there in Montana by distributing marijuana is commit felonies, multiple felonies. By requiring me to smoke pot, and it was required, they were doing to me exactly what it is that the hospitals did to me. Forcing drugs into my system. You have a choice. You can take these drugs or you can leave. Except at the hospital, that wasn't the choice. At the hospital, it was, I tell you what, you try one more again to try to talk to the police and we're going to fucking slam you to the floor and drug the shit out of you. We're going to threaten you and assault you and charge you with assault. Like they did to that woman who won $3.6 million. Like they did to Samuel Leon Lawrence IV. Like they did to Donna Deathridge. Like they did to Michelle Rodriguez. Like they did to Black Bodie and they did to Starbucks Sam. I wish I knew Sam's last name. Same thing they did to Todd Ryan Case. That's the drug dealer who housed me up when Peaches couldn't. The one who was dating Chloe Pachovis. Miss Peaches rescued Chloe Pachovis because I couldn't. I let Peaches know what was going on, and Peaches got a hold of Chloe's sister. And Chloe's sister came and rescued Chloe. And I got the text messages between me and Chloe. I got the text messages between me and Peaches. It proves I'm telling the truth. I never stopped trying to help people, ever. You guys don't like what I have to say on Facebook and what I have to say on YouTube. Well, maybe if the cops would have tried listening to what I had to say, things would have turned out different, but they didn't. Maybe if the Bollingers tried to listen to what I had to say instead of judging me and sending people after me, things would have turned out different. And I've looked through pages and pages and pages and pages and pages trying to find just one time, just once, where Natalie said anything to anybody about me raping or molesting her. Same thing with Alicia. Not once do I see anything from either one of those two young ladies about me raping and molesting them. Meanwhile, I spent a whole year before Natalie died being threatened and assaulted for raping and molesting two little girls who were 18, who I didn't have sex with, who I didn't molest. When people are losing an argument because they're fucking too stupid to argue with somebody with any brains, they always go back and revert to that, don't they? Well, you're a fucking child molester. You do this shit to women. You victimize women. Your history of this and this and this. I'm like, no, it's not a history of victimizing women. You guys can go through and look at my history. The people I talk to like that, it's got nothing to do with gender. I'm just as big a piece of shit to Derek Parrish for being a fucker as I am to anybody else, regardless of gender. I don't need Derek Parrish to come forward and admit a whole bunch of stuff that he didn't see, because he never took a look. I need him to admit that I tried and that he never took a look. My dad never took a look. Shannon Alvarado, I mean, I've got all this stuff at her house. And she's busy getting drunk, looking at 300 other different cases just because it's entertainment to her. She's not interested in doing any actual work. When Katie Cahill realized that taking screenshots was going to be some work, she took 12 screenshots in an hour and fucking quit. I've got over 8,000 screenshots. Why would I take those screenshots if I was going to make no effort to go to court, as the judge pretended in the protection order with Shelley? No, they went out of their way to make sure that I couldn't. My public pretender was magically not in the office that whole week. She showed up the morning I was supposed to have court. Meanwhile, I had been trying to get to that court date and trying to find a way to force the police to allow me to do that. I literally lit a fire and threatened to kill the President of the United States in order to get that goddamn court date. How can you say that I made no effort? I filled out paperwork and handed it to two officers in the jail, Officers McRae and Thorne. The very same officers who had me put on suicide watch for trying to make a report about them the day earlier. They put me on suicide watch. And the officers who escorted me to the suicide watch area made fun of me along with Officer McRae, who escorted us. I was trying to tell an officer who, literally, because Officer McRae was being such a cunt, She came in with another officer, and that other officer started listening to me. He told Officer McRae that she needed to leave because she wouldn't stop interrupting me and stop being an asshole. He told her to leave, so she came back with 2 officers who made fun of me. They didn't care what I had to say. They cared about punishing me. What they did with that protection order was to punish me. That suicide watch was to punish me. And there were inmates in there. Many inmates. They will never forget me because I spent the whole time that I was in there trying to get an officer to take a report. And trying to get put somewhere where the officers in that jail didn't have access to abuse me. Go fuck yourselves, every one of you who claimed to love me and turned a blind eye. You're a piece of shit, Derek Parrish. I ever see you, I will fuck you up. I will run my mouth until you swing. I already know you got it in you to swing at me. I know it. If you got it in you to yell at me for 2.5 days straight and then put me in a headlock, yeah, it won't take many words from me for your bitch ass to start swinging, you fucking cunt. Although, I was about to say that, right there, I called a man a cunt, but he's not a man. He needs to man up and admit to his shit.